Hey everybody, welcome back to Discover SPRINGFORD. I'm standing in front of Signature Gallery, located at 51st Avenue in Royersford Borough. Today, I'm sitting down with the owners, Ed and Sherrie Schoen.
I'm Geoffrey Desiato, a professional actor, part-time realtor, and transplant to the SPRINGFORD area. And I'm on a mission to find the best that SPRINGFORD has to offer. I'll be interviewing local business owners, civil servants, and other prominent members of the community to find out what makes SPRINGFORD a great place to live, work, eat, and explore. I invite you to join me on my journey as I discover SPRINGFORD.
Ed, Sherrie, thank you so much for allowing me to come into the shop today.
My pleasure.
To talk shop, as it were. So why don't we go back to the beginning? You guys can decide who gets to go first to tell a little bit about your personal story and what led you to Signature Gallery.
Edward?
It's a convoluted story, actually.
Okay, good. I like those. Those are the most interesting ones.
I was always been interested in music, and I was going to school. I was taking courses at Bucks County Community College in the 70s, and when I was taking that, performing arts students had to have a fine arts class. One, there was nothing that interested me in fine arts, painting, none of that stuff.
Right.
But they had a woodworking class, and I thought,
okay.
That could be interesting. I've never done that before. I mean, my father didn't. We didn't do stuff like that around the house. There was nothing like that around the house. So
you didn't come from a long line of tradesmen and woodworkers and
stuff.
No.
So that was pretty much, other than whatever kind of hacking stuff I did around.
Okay. More destructive than artistic.
Pretty much. So I decided to take the class, and I really enjoyed it. It was like, wow, this was a lot more relaxing than even a lot of my regular studies were.
Oh wow!
And so I took that. They only had at the time. They were just starting their woodworking program there. They have a full-fledged one there now.
Okay.
They offered woodworking 1, and then they offered woodworking 2. And that was all they offered there. But I was there for longer than that. So so I asked the instructor, "Can we make a woodworking 3?" And I'll just hang out in woodworking 2, but we can work together on a project. And he said, yeah. So we did that, and I decided, boy, I really like this. This is, this is probably better than what I've been doing in music. So
okay.
I was originally going in for music therapy. I did some work, like at Eastern State, down by Ben Salem, special needs kids and such like that.
Okay.
But I decided ultimately, if that was going to be my lifetime thing, don't know that I was cut out for it.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot. You put a lot of yourself into that type of a thing. And I was working with autistic kids, and it just seemed like, I don't know that I want to do this day in, day out. I don't mind doing it, but I just don't know if I could take the level of stress that went along with that. So anyway, so then I thought, maybe I'll do it. My sister moved to California. I helped her move out there. When I was out there, I fell in love with Northern California. Mm-hmm. And as it turns out, in Sonoma, the university, California University in Sonoma, had a music therapy course. So I thought, well, geez, maybe I should still do that, because instead I could live in California.
Yeah, right.
So I did. So I decided, after I finished my classes at Bucks, during the summer I moved to California. And I thought, full intention of starting in the fall, music therapy classes. Once I moved out there, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I decided I wasn't going to do that. And I just decided that, I was all summer I was working with another person that I met through the university, through Bucks County Community College, building cool stuff, And I thought, I think I'd rather do this. So I decided, I'm just going to get a job. There's lots of cabinet shops. The thing about California is, at that time, cabinet shops built all the stuff for your houses and such like that. That's how it was.
Right.
They wouldn't order them from a place. There was no Home Depot or anything like that. So they wouldn't order them. They would go to a cabinet shop and they would do all the interiors for your house and such. So it was like a plethora of cabinet shops out there.
Oh, okay. All
kinds of ranges, from just like commercial contractor grade stuff all the way up to very high end. So I got involved with that. And and at the same time, while I was out there, actually while I was back here, I was reading an author, James Krenoff. He was from Sweden. He was very big in the very beginning in the like the woodworking. Woodworking really took off in the 70s.
Yeah.
A magazine called Fine Woodworking was just started being published. He was in a couple of early articles. And he wrote books not about how to do woodworking, but why to do woodworking.
Oh, that's interesting.
And his whole, it was a whole Zen type thing.
Okay.
How to do woodworking. That's what it was. And that's how it always was with him.
Yeah.
While I was out there, and I'd read all his books at that time, and I was trying to get better at doing woodworking, although I was mostly working at cabinet shops, and I worked at a roll-top desk factory and things like that.
Yeah.
And, but then I noticed, and I was involved at the time, they had a lot of big woodworking organizations out there. There was like the Marin County, just north of San Francisco, the Sonoma County, north of Marin, Mendocino County, north of Sonoma, Woodworkers Association. And they all got along, and they all had these little things that they did together. So during the process of that, I found out that the the Mendocino County Woodworkers Association was having Jim Krenoff for summer sessions at one of the high schools up there.
Yeah.
And you could sign up for them and do they had a 2-day session, they had a week-long session, and I was like, wow, that's serendipitous,
Yeah.
So I was working at the time, so I could only do like the weekend class to see what was going on, and I really enjoyed it. He was a personable guy.
That's good.
So.
Yeah, they always say, be careful if you meet the people that you look up to, because they might disappoint you.
Absolutely.
That's good. Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it came across real nice. As it turns out, I really felt good about it.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, we're talking about getting something bigger going on out here. And then, as it turns out, I was in touch with them, and they decided we're starting a school with the California State University, and it's going to be on the coast, on the Mendocino coast. And it's going to be his program. They're bringing him over from Sweden to do this program, and so I got to get into that class.
Yeah.
So I figured, I didn't know how I was going to do it because,
Right.
I was working at jobs, not making a lot of money, and but I figured, I got to somehow find a way to pull this off.
Yeah.
And so that is what happened.
Okay.
So I got into the class. It's funny because I know I was the first person to get into that class, because I was bugging them so much that they didn't even have to mail me my acceptance letter. They handed it to me. And he said, "You're the first guy to get into the class." And he handed it to me, And so that was back in 1981. And and it was a year-long class. It still goes on today. Very intense.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, they had I think there were 16 of us in the class. And
it's called the College of the Redwoods.
It's College of the Redwoods is what it's called.
Okay.
And I think now it's called the Krenoff School of Fine Woodworking at the College of the Redwoods.
They always try to make things a little bit more prestigious, and over time I feel like they add more words to the name.
Absolutely, yeah. But it was the kind of thing where you started at 8 in the morning and the shop was open till 10 at night, and a lot of times you were there. It was more than a full-time job there, and everybody was there. Like, you go home and get something to eat, you go back and work some more. And it was open on weekends. So anyway, so I spent my year. I was a full year doing that year program, and then after that, I started doing some assorted things with other cabinet shops in the area, and but decided that I wanted to move back to Pennsylvania. My parents were getting older. They decided they were living in Florida, and they were talking about moving back to Pennsylvania. My sister, who lived out there, was moving back to Pennsylvania. I thought, let's move back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And just prior to that, I met Sherrie in California.
Oh, okay.
And so
he brought you back to the East Coast?
No.
It was a roundabout way.
Okay.
She was living in Florida at the time.
Okay.
And she was visiting my sister, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I met her just before I left, and then later on we got together, and she was just getting ready to move back to Pennsylvania too.
Oh, okay.
Similarly, and she's from the same area.
Oh, wow.
We're both from Lower Bucks County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me transition then to hear a little bit of what you were doing before you guys met, and how you ended up out in California, if you don't
actually,
mind. Yeah.
I was living
Or in Florida, you
in
said.
Florida,
Yeah.
right? And for a couple of years, I was in the restaurant business. Actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I wanted to move back to Pennsylvania, and he helped me move back. Actually.
Oh, really?
So we moved back to Sellersville.
Oh, okay,
and,
yeah.
I don't know how long after that we opened a retail store in Paoli.
Yeah, it was probably about 4 years, I guess. About 4 years,
Selling
right.
furniture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All original pieces that you were
All
making?
handmade stuff.
Yeah, all handmade stuff. Yeah, that's awesome.
I used to work for a company in Percy, and I used to run the company. Actually, I used to run the shop.
Okay.
The company I used to run the shop, and they made a lot of antique reproductions and such like that. So we started out mainly selling their furniture,
Right.
because I was working full time, and I threw the occasional piece in there, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And but for the first, I guess from '87 till '92. It was just me part-time making stuff and selling their furniture. We sold a couple of other people's furniture too, and all handmade stuff, and antique reproductions.
Yeah.
And until like in '92, I was so busy. I had a client every year that would buy a really nice piece of furniture from me every year, and he was doing his house in Nantucket. And
Oh, wow.
and he's finally said, "This is taking too long," and he said, "Let's finish it, but I need it all by this date." So he ordered like the rest of the house full of furniture, but he needed to have it by a certain date.
Oh, my
Because
goodness.
he just wanted to get it done. So I'm like, well, this is a pretty good opportunity to leave my job
Right.
and do it full time. And I figured hopefully after there we'll get more work.
Yeah, right. Take that leap.
Right.
You
And that's how I took the leap due to this one customer actually.
So you said you're both originally from Lower Bucks, like Ben Salem area? Or?
I was actually from Southampton.
Yeah.
She was from Richboro. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I used to work. A long time ago, in many previous jobs, I worked in Richboro.
Yeah?
I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, so I'm very familiar. My dad lived in Feasterville for
there
a
you
lot
go.
of his young adult life and into his adulthood. So yeah, I'm very familiar. Even though now we're all out here, that's more my stomping grounds as I start to continue to make myself roots here in Springford. So it's always fun to hear the various places that people come from and how they end up here in this area. Because there's a lot of people that are lifers, and then there are a lot of people that are transplants as well. So it's always cool to hear the story.
We keep moving west is how it worked. I mean, because we were living. I mean, when we got back to when the two of us got together, when we got married, we were living in Blooming Glen, and and then when we bought our first house, we were in Harleysville, moved a little bit west, and then our next house I built our next house in Schwenksville, and then we sold that house, and then we built our current house at the same time we bought this building in Perkiomenville.
Okay.
So we live in Perkiomenville, but our business is here, obviously.
Sure. So you actually built the house?
Yeah,
that one house? Oh wow, that's awesome.
I actually built both houses.
Did you really?
This last one, the first house, it was a little. We couldn't use trusses, and it was a rafter framed roof, and it was a very complicated roof. I didn't do the framing. I was afraid it was above my pay grade.
Right. I was gonna say, I would imagine making furniture and building a house are very different.
They are.
very different.
But the funny thing about it was I'd work all week building furniture, and then I work on the weekends on the house, and it was like a totally different job.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to do this 7 days a week, but it was like, oh wow, this is like a different job.
Yeah, right. You're using a lot of the same instruments and tools and wood, obviously, but totally different.
Yeah. But the current house that I built, I picked a design that was a little easier to do, and then I did all the framing and everything in this particular house.
Oh, that's so cool.
With assistance. So.
I can't imagine. I am not skilled with other than playing guitar. I can't do anything with my hands. But I did as a child. I actually I entertained becoming a carpenter when I was like 11. I was like, oh, that would be cool, like be able to make things with my hands. And then I picked up a guitar, and I never did anything else after that. So like everything else I was interested in was always like intangible things like singing or whatever, like it couldn't, you can't, there's no finished product on singing, I guess, unless you record it. But so what, from your perspective, Sherrie, you said you were in the restaurant business. Did you have any experience with this line of work, or
Nope.
No, okay. You just
Well, you
came
do a
along
lot
for
of
the ride.
antique
My
restoration.
dad was a putterer, so.
Oh, okay.
And I helped him build things over the years, like a sailboat. I helped him build a
Oh, wow.
sailboat. Yeah, he had a shop in the basement in our house where we grew up.
Yeah.
And he got me started on refinishing antiques. They were
Yeah.
big antique people.
Oh,
so,
that's cool.
So that was kind of a connection for us, I guess, love of furniture.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at what point? Obviously, you said you guys came back here. You got together. How long after you were married did you open up that store in Paoli that you had mentioned? Just pretty recent.
Something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty soon after.
Yeah.
She was running the furniture department at Hess's in Quakertown.
Oh, okay.
For a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hess's. That doesn't exist anymore.
No,
does
it
Okay.
doesn't, no.
Did it get bought by something else or just closed its
I think
doors?
it just
Okay.
closed.
I know a lot of those like smaller stores got
bought up by Macy's.
yeah, eaten
and
up.
stuff.
Yeah,
Closed.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they were out of Allentown.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my in-laws are they live in Easton, so we're often making our way up to the Lehigh Valley for holidays and things
Oh,
like
nice.
that. So
Right.
yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of
Sorry.
I find there's a lot of common threads as I talk to people. I'm like, oh yeah, I know where that is. Other people are like, oh, I'm from this area, and I'm like, where is that? I have no idea. Which is kind of how I knew about Royersford. I hadn't known much about it before we started looking in the area, and
We didn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't either.
And we were looking for a building. That's
Oh,
when we
okay.
found it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you had the furniture like sales store first,
Right.
and then at what point did you start to transition into more production and stuff?
Well, we had in '92 when we bought our house in Harleysville. It was really a barn with a house,
Oh, really?
as opposed to a house with a barn. you
Yeah.
know. It was a very large barn. I thought, this is perfect. I can set up a shop here, and so from '92 until '99. We were building.
That was our first
That was our
shop.
first shop.
Oh, okay.
So we built furniture there until we sold the house.
It was on your property.
On our
Yeah,
property
yeah.
premises, yeah. So we built furniture there until '99, until we built this barn. And because we I don't know how we did it, to be honest. I
Yeah.
mean, it was 2,500 square feet. I mean, at the time we had about 5 or 6 guys.
Wow.
And I don't even know how we did it.
Yeah.
We get here and we got 5,000 feet per floor, as
Yeah.
opposed to a total of 2,500. And I'm probably stretching that number a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really different at that
Yeah.
time. But I when I was running the other shop in Percy, it was a building just like this.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, with the same type of building with large windows, brick building, and I loved it. It was just wood floors. And as soon as I saw this place, I'm like, this is the place.
Right.
One thing the other place didn't have was an elevator. This one
Oh,
did.
okay.
So this was a plus.
Yeah, that's really good.
We used to have to carry everything upstairs.
Yeah.
So,
So sorry, I don't know if you were about to say something,
No,
but
go ahead.
so you had said that the decision to leap into going completely on your own was this person purchasing a whole house full of handmade furniture from you guys. What was that conversation like in terms of like, well, now it's time, I guess. Like this guy's basically going to fund the start of our business by buying all these furniture.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it right there. Yeah. And to be honest,
Some trepidation at first, do you think?
of course, you
Yeah.
always have that kind of thing. I felt like at the time, and I know this happens with a lot of managers and such like that. I just felt like I liked what I was doing and where I was working, but I was constantly putting out fires.
Yeah.
And that's all I was doing. It was just
Right.
like I was going in and solving this problem and solving that problem, and then like on weekends I'd actually build stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is way better than what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just putting out fires.
Right.
Even though I was good at it.
Right.
But so. I'd rather. That's kind of my forte. I'd rather be doing the stuff. I'd rather
Right.
be actually making the stuff. So.
Yeah, that's why you got into it in the first place, right? Was the
Exactly.
the Zen aspect
Well, yeah,
of
and
woodworking.
it was.
Yeah.
It absolutely was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, in the store in Paoli, we opened right before Christmas one year.
Oh, wow.
With 3 pieces of furniture. And I can still remember my first sale. This lady came in, she got money for Christmas, and she ordered 2 pieces. It was so exciting.
Yeah, I can imagine. You probably
And-
felt alive.
Yeah. And it just, it was a good location because
Yeah.
we did really well there.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good business there. So.
And you were there for, you said, from what, 92 to...
6 or 7 years.
Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah.
then we moved. I think the winters were getting pretty bad there,
Yeah.
and then for the commute, and so we wound up moving to Skippack. We moved the store to Skippack.
Oh, okay.
We were in Skippack for like 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Were you like right in that strip of places? Yeah.
We were in the old firehouse.
Oh, okay.
Right in the center of town.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
It's a cute store.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, so you sold that way for a number of years in the different locations and stuff. That's cool. And then at what point was it that so you were producing this stuff from your home premises and that's what you were selling at this point?
Right.
So when did you decide that it was time to move and you started this process of moving to Royersford?
Well, we sold a house.
Yeah.
We sold a house. We also didn't have a shop anymore. So we knew that was coming. We were looking at it at the same time. We were looking at. We bought the property in Schwenksville to build our house, and then we knew, okay, we got to sell this house, and once we sell that, now we're going to need a place to work. And the people that we sold the house to didn't really have a use for the barn, so we rented it from them for a few months until we were done here, until we got ready here. So it just we just needed a place. We were already done. And in the new place, there was just dirt there. We didn't have a house either.
Yeah.
So either way, we had to find a place.
Yeah, nomads.
A couple years.
I can imagine. You're like living and working transiently, trying to.
Yeah, we're setting this up. We're building a house. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy year.
Yeah. When was that?
It was 99.
99. Okay, so over 20 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And how did you come about? Or did you have someone looking for properties for you and stuff like that?
Yeah, we had a realtor looking for properties for us, and he sent us this one. And it's funny because I always thought Royersford. Like, where the heck is that?
Yeah.
And then I kept thinking it was so far away.
Yeah.
Because the only way I've ever gotten to Royersford was some convoluted way of going from Schwenksville. This is before you look at your phone to tell you how to do things.
Exactly right.
So I'd go from Schwenksville to Collegeville, get on 422, and then come up there, and it was like, this takes forever. I don't want to go there. And then a friend of mine said, no, you just get down Township Line Road from Schwenksville, You'll be there in 15 minutes. I'm like, really? And I saw that. I'm like, wow, this is a perfect location,
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it happened, actually, literally. So I remember coming here one day. I'm like, wow, this was easy, And as soon as I saw the building, I loved it. I'm like, wow, that's a great building. So.
This used to be a furniture store.
Oh, did it really?
For a number of years.
Oh, okay. I was just about to ask, what was this
Townsend
before?
Furniture. Then it was some other furniture store.
Yeah.
But over the years, it was a stove factory. It was, I think a
tannery at one time.
Oh, really?
Factory. Yeah, it's got a lot of history.
Do you smell the carcasses at all? Like, there's no lingering sense of the skins and stuff. That's what you mean by tannery, right?
Yeah, right.
Not a tanning salon.
Not a tanning salon.
Yeah.
Well, the whole building. We painted the inside of the whole building before we moved in.
Okay.
We have a couple of guys who helped me build the house. I had them over here they were here about 2 weeks, I think, and with spraying the building. I figured this is probably the only time I'm going to paint it, so let's paint the inside now before we move in.
Yeah.
And so I figured, and that sort of helped too to get kind of like a nice clean.
Because it was black.
Yeah.
It was?
A lot of it was black.
Oh, wow.
How
many coats of paint to get it not black anymore?
I think one.
Just
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You use how much space do you said you 5,000 per floor?
Yeah, 4 floors.
4 floors?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And what is located on each floor?
The lower section we store a lot of our materials down there, like our lumber and such like that. And then we do a lot of our rough cutting down there.
Okay.
So we got and a lot of the really noisy equipment is downstairs.
Okay.
So, and that's actually a Krenoff thing too. So trying to keep that stuff away. And, so that's all downstairs. And then this is the main place where we build stuff. The next floor up is where we do our finishing.
Okay.
So we have a big spray booth up there for spray finishing, and we do a lot of veneering too. So we have veneer presses on that floor also, because you don't need tools for that. It's just that just gets done up there. And then the top floor is storage. So,
okay. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of space. So it's, I guess, 20,000 square feet. Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So have you gotten, any training since you've started this business? Are you working with your hands too, involved in the making of the furniture, or dabbling, or
finishing?
Not really.
Finishing?
Only when I have to.
When it's all hands on deck.
That's not true. She does a lot of work in the finishing department.
Okay.
If we have to do custom colors, she makes the custom colors and such.
Oh, cool.
So So Yeah.
That's cool. And then your love for antiquing and furniture in general, I would imagine, brings a different. You probably have different tastes in terms of what types of furniture, and you can collaborate and things like that. Do you do that at all?
Well, Edward does all his own designs.
Oh, okay.
So, he's more towards the arts and crafts.
Yeah, I've gravitated. I mean, I sort of started my career doing a lot of very contemporary stuff, and then I knew if I came back to Bucks County, it would be, or this area that, Bucks, Montgomery County, it'd be antique reproductions. I knew it would be that.
Yeah.
And I wanted that because I didn't have much experience in that type.
Okay.
And so I really wanted to.
It's like a new challenge for you.
Yeah. But as I got into it more and more, I really liked the arts and crafts furniture. Appeals to me more.
Yeah.
So I try and do a little version of arts and crafts furniture with more of an Asian slant. So,
so
that's my favorite.
For someone like myself who doesn't know a thing about this, how would you classify arts and crafts furniture, or what items make up arts and crafts?
Arts and crafts furniture was started in the late 1800s in England. William Morris started it, and then Gustav Stickley is the one who started it here in the United States. And it was simpler furniture. It was getting away from the heavy Victorian carved. Gingerbready looking stuff.
Oh, okay.
And they wanted it very straight looking, like straight square legs, minimal design, a lot of spindles, square spindle type things and such like that.
Okay.
So that's kind of that's a good way to differentiate. Mission, it's sometimes called mission styling.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard that before. Yeah.
It's kind of I'm not sure. I can't swear as to where that came in, but where the mission is, if it was some sort of thing in California or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's arts and crafts. That's typically arts and crafts. Arts and crafts was a whole furniture, houses and such like that. Bungalows, that'd be an arts and crafts type house.
Oh, okay.
Like those type of bungalows and such.
You say like the Sears.
Like a lot of the Sears houses and stuff, but they were like bungalows. Bungalows. And that's what we have. They're typical arts and crafts houses. I think they're based on an Indian design. I think it might even be. I think it is an Indian word actually.
Yeah.
It's a variation of an Indian word that of the actual shape of it. So,
Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So in terms
Indian
of
country, as in country.
India. Yeah. Now in terms of how people, how you solicit customers and things like that, do you have a catalog of items, or do you do commission? Like, do people commission specific types of things from you guys, or
pretty
how
much
do you handle it?
That's what we do. That's pretty much all we do.
Oh, okay.
Is that? Yeah. I mean, what had happened before when we had the store, we had more of the lines of furniture and such, but we found that can you do it? Can we have it this wide, or instead of that detail, can we do this? And I'd like to do this color.
Oh, okay.
And it started getting.
All customized.
It was all customized, and it was like, we said to ourselves, we've got this retail storage place here, and we are selling stuff out of it, but mostly we're meeting clients who are telling us how to change everything that we're doing in here.
So why do we have this inventory? We're keeping this inventory.
So we keep a small showroom here, but mostly it's custom stuff that we do right now. So that's pretty much all we do is custom work. So,
that's really cool.
We do furniture, we do interiors, a lot of built-in type things.
Kitchens, libraries.
We do occasional kitchens, libraries.
Oh, wow.
We've been doing exterior doors lately.
Anything out of wood, really.
Yeah, basically anything.
Yeah.
Anybody they order, the old-fashioned rocking horses or anything like that? We haven't That's a little small scale, I think, for you guys. Yeah.
We don't do stuff like that. But pretty much furniture for every room in the house. Beds, chests of drawers, tables. We make some chairs.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, desks. We do a lot of desks. We've been doing, for a while, we were doing a lot of live edge stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with that term.
Is that where you don't actually finish it retains the shape of the
tree?
Of the
exactly,
tree.
Exactly. Yep. Right. So like a tabletop. We've done a real nice desk like that. We did a few desks like that. We did a countertop out of that. I've got a boatload of live edge wood downstairs.
Right.
As a matter of fact.
It's really cool because everything is completely one of a kind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like. you can't recreate that shape. It's how nature made it. So
Right.
Yeah, we did a table in for a client of ours in Royersford, a 42-inch wide by 12-foot walnut table, 2.5 inches thick.
12-foot long.
12-foot long.
Huge
It's like
room.
I don't know what they're doing. How many family members they have to sit at a 12-foot long table? That's
Three.
Three. That's it.
Like I said, pass the salt. We joked about that.
Right.
But yeah, they're.
That's awesome.
They have a big family there.
Yeah.
They comes to visit and such. And
how thick did you say it was?
it was 2.5 inches thick. Took 4 people to bring that tabletop in. Actually.
Oh my gosh.
Very heavy.
Yeah, that's because it's just solid.
And it just sat on the base, the actual base. And
It's
we made some
beautiful.
we made some live edge benches to go with it, and then they bought chairs. Benches like to go in the middle area, and then chairs like also
On the
chairs
edges,
too,
yeah.
like upholstered chairs too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and
So is there a way for people to see the outside of coming into the showroom, like some of those pieces that you've done in the past? Do you have like a
Website?
it's on our
is it
website.
on your website, like
It's on
the
our
previous
website.
work and stuff?
Yeah,
So if you
yeah.
wanted to be like, oh, I actually like that. So if
Right.
you could do something like that, yeah,
Right,
that's cool.
and that's what happens a lot of times.
Yeah.
People that'll give them some ideas and directions of where to go and such like that.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of people that they know what they like when they see it, but they can't describe it. Like they need something to refer to. So that's good that you guys have the showroom here and
Right.
people can come in.
Right.
And, do people walk in sometimes, or is that really? Yeah, because it's kind of, people wouldn't necessarily think it's like you can walk right in and just come and talk to people or whatever. I would think, but yeah, if that's something available to people, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about. I know you guys are obviously you've been here for a while now, and you've established a presence, but there is something else that you guys do, I think, right? The First Avenue woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started that a couple of years ago. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, was
Mm-hmm.
it? Yeah, and it's woodworking classes.
Oh, okay.
And we teach them mostly on weekends and
Yeah.
such like that. So we usually do. The bulk of the class, they're 2-day classes. People come in at 8 in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. We work till 4:30, and
Okay.
they're project based. So we have people work on a particular project that we're doing, whether it's a small bench or a hall table, coffee table,
Right.
end table thing, and we just show them how to do it with traditional construction techniques.
Okay.
And end of the day on Sunday, they take it home with them. And,
Oh wow! So it doesn't take very long to
right,
from start to finish. That's
right,
pretty cool.
Right, yeah.
It's a full weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
it's
5
it's-
o'clock, they're still trying to finish it.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
So we have to
There's
do it.
stragglers
Yeah, sure.
sometimes at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sure. And people
But-
are probably like super perfectionists about it and stuff.
Everybody is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a really great thing because everybody is so into it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is just like, yeah. I mean, it's funny. We've had, there's quite a few funny little anecdotes, but I remember one of the classes we had here, we've had a couple, or we've had husband and wife teams. They both have come and are doing it. And I remember one such thing. One of my assistant who was talking to one of the people, one of the women walked over and was talking, and he's like, well, how's it going? She says, how do you think it's going? She's like, I don't care, as long as it's better than my husband's.
I would imagine there's like a little competitive environment.
There is a definite, it's funny. I remember one guy that I know took the class one time, and he convinced his wife to come, and she came with a girlfriend, and then like the day after the class, I got a phone call. Hey, what's the deal here? How come my wife's project stays in the house, but mine goes up to the mountain house?
One is only okay for our family to see. The other one is for guests, and
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what.
So it's
I know
fun.
my wife. Anything my wife made here would be better than anything I would make here. She's the one who. It's funny. We have a little bit of a. Her father's a machinist and can build anything and all that kind of stuff, and she has gotten that gene. And my dad was a musician as well, and more. Now he works in computers and things like that. So it's funny how. I like to cook and do those types of things. So, we kind of flip the traditional 1950s,
that's
roles
good.
on their heads. So my
Sure.
wife, there's a story, not to bore you guys, but one time I was supposed to hang curtain rods, and my wife came home and they weren't hung. And it was because I had put a hole in the wall trying to hang the curtain rods. So she's like, what? So I spackled and painted the hole that I put in the wall, and then like, so it looked like I had done nothing. And I'm like, oh no, I had done quite a lot actually. So she proceeded to hang the curtain rods while I made dinner. So it's kind of like a great little summation of our relationship as a couple. And so she's really good with her hands and taking on projects like that. She really enjoys it, and I'm like, oh yay, like good job. You know?
Yeah. You enjoy cooking.
I do like cooking. I find cooking very zen. Now cleaning up after the cooking, not at all. My wife's like, see, this is why I don't make so much of a mess when I cook, because it's hard to clean up. Meanwhile, I'm in there and like you hear like the classical music or whatever, like and I'm like throwing eggs and like the chef from the Muppets. I'm just kidding. But I'm like it's art, like making something. So it's really cool that you guys are able to use to kind of marry the two things of a trade with art, because a lot of times they're like mutually exclusive in a way. You know what I mean? So the fact that you can have a creative outlet, but also the sense of accomplishment of finishing something. I would imagine that's why, those woodworking classes are so exciting for people, because they know at the end they'll have proof of the work that they did, and it's something that they can have forever, which is elusive in a lot of things. Yeah,
I remember another story of a guy he took this. It was this little bench we make in the first class, and he took it home, but it has all exposed joinery, and I guess he was getting a new kitchen put in. These kitchen guys were like, well, you built that? Wow. How did you do that? And he's thinking, why did I hire these guys?
Right. It's like, well, I'm sure they know how to do exactly what they were trained to do for that kitchen, so. Right. Yeah, it's crazy. You're like, darn it, I could have saved a lot of money on this, right? It's probably not as hard. I would imagine it's one of those things like once someone shows you behind the curtain a little bit, you're like, now it starts to make sense. Like for me, like everything here seems like impossible. Like it's like a miracle that any of this stuff is here and sturdy and standing, because I can't imagine how it's done. But I would, as people are learning, do you see like the light bulbs start to go on and stuff like, oh, that makes sense why these things come together like that. And so that's why I always was like, man, I wish I could like apply myself, like, because I could like save money on mechanics, I could save money on this, I could save money on this if I would just like. I do refer to YouTube a lot. That's a helpful thing if there's ever something around the house that needs to get fixed. But
there you go.
My wife again usually takes the lead on those projects, because she's better at like, she has skinnier fingers and arms and stuff. So like for reaching, there's one time we had to replace our car door window, because it was a crank and the crank broke, and she took the car door off and she did it. She just watched YouTube. She had like a YouTube video. And she was like, we got the part, and she did it. And I'm just like, I married the right woman, man. This is amazing. Give my wife some love here on Discover SPRINGFORD. I don't often do that, but she's really great with that kind of stuff. Just applying, like she's like, all right, I don't know how to do it, but by the end I will, which is good. I'm so afraid I'm going to damage something that I'm like, I'll just let somebody else do it,
Right. Sure.
Yeah. So this has been fun. I really appreciate the story behind it. Tell people a little bit about how they can interact with you guys, how they can either inquire about work or I should say work that you guys can do for them, and how they can get in touch with you.
Well, sure.
Phone.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
Sure.
Send an email. We have connections on the website.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll have all those links below the video as well. Do you have a social media presence at all?
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Mm-hmm. Yeah, is that the primary? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep.
And
what's the phone number here so people can reach you?
610-792-5399.
5399. Great. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you guys wanted to let people know about Signature Gallery?
I don't know if we should bring up the other thing upstairs, or...
It's up to you.
there is one other thing.
Okay, yeah, please.
If you want to bring it up.
Yeah, sure.
For a couple of years now, we've been working with an opioid rehab place in Oaks.
Okay.
It's called the Manor of Hope.
It's called the Manor of Hope. And the owner of that had approached me years ago, and he said, maybe you'd be a good fit for helping us out with some of the guys that come in here, as far as giving them some purpose, giving them some training and such like that. And I've hired people from that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Since that time period.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the first guy we hired, actually, total rock star.
Yeah.
I mean, he turned out. I mean, he couldn't use a hammer when he came here. I mean, when he left, he was making up stuff, and his dad was believing him because his dad thought he was a pretty good woodworker, but he was making up stuff, and I got him convinced. I mean, don't do that, but his dad now believes him, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Over this, and so anyway, he made the Manor of Hope very proud in us too, and that worked out really well. We're not looking to make woodworking careers out of these people. We're just trying to give them some knowledge.
Yeah.
Much like we do at the classes and such like that. And so we've been doing that for the past couple of years. And just recently, we started doing a couple-day-a-week program with them, so they can pretty much bring a bunch of them over, and we'll give them little projects that they can make. We set up a room upstairs just for them, actually.
That's cool.
And Randy, who works with me here, is running that program. And they will just come here, just make little things, like they're working on a plaque with carved letters and stuff like that. And then awesome. They can take it home, and all of a sudden, hey, they made this. You know what I mean? And just to give them a sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
Again,
that sense of accomplishment. Like,
yeah.
I did this with my own two hands.
Right.
And it's a skill that they can then start to build on if they choose to.
Right. And as I even told the young guy who worked for us, I said, I know you're not going to get into woodworking, but this is going to help you down the road.
Right.
I mean, you're working around your house. You don't have a wife like you do.
Yeah, right.
Or did I throw that out too?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just, it'll help you down the road.
Right.
You can this can transfer. And so that's, again, I have a good friend down in Asheville, North Carolina, and he's actually training people. It's weird. It sort of started out because we both sort of are doing a similar type of a thing. Okay. I didn't realize he was doing it. He didn't realize I was doing it.
Oh, wow.
But he's actually training them in a woodworking program of sorts, and they're actually making things and selling them. Through another opioid rehabilitation center down there.
That's great.
In Asheville.
And that could be the goal here.
That could
eventually
right.
that they're producing something.
Yeah.
Right. But
that's so cool that you guys are doing that, because obviously we know the crisis that our country's under with opioids and
Absolutely.
Things like that, and to have, for you guys to, obviously have the presence that you've had here for a number of years, and obviously your work speaks for itself, but to go that extra mile and give back in that way is really encouraging, especially with a local organization.
Yeah, it's a great
that's in the Springford.
Yes, and it is.
Yeah.
It's a totally super professional. It's
nice people.
Everybody there. It's just, and it's been a boon to us. It really has. It's made us. I don't know. The whole Zen thing, I guess.
Right.
It has. It's done really well.
Yeah, I would dare to say that, like, as you had said, that for them to come here and to learn, it gives them purpose and meaning. But even on your end, to extend that offering to those that are struggling, right. it provides you with a sense of like, what I'm doing has a higher value even than just making stuff that makes people happy. Like, I'm actually giving opportunities for those that may not have them otherwise. Right. So that it creates a Zen environment for you.
Right.
There's more of a purpose to what you're doing here than just making furniture and selling it. It's you're reinvesting, as it were, in those around us and in the community, which I give you guys a lot of credit for that, because I know a lot of people might not be willing to extend themselves in that way. So I'm grateful that you guys have elected to do that. That's really cool.
Thanks. We like it. It's been working out really well.
That's
it
awesome.
Really has. So the guys.
No, I'm glad that you shared that. I would have, if I had found out about that after the fact, I would have been like, I should have asked them about that. That's so cool. That's a great thing to wrap up on, I think. Okay. So anything else? I think that was great.
Pretty well covered.
All right, great. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for letting me come in and have this conversation with you guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Discover Springford. I want to thank you for watching. I also want to thank Ed and Sherrie for their time today. If you would like to know more about Signature Gallery and First Avenue Woodworking, you can click the variety of links below the video. If you enjoy Discover Springford and would like to support us going forward, you can do that in a number of ways. You can visit our website, discoverspringford.com, and subscribe for our email newsletter. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast. If you enjoy the work that we do with Discover Springford, highlighting the Springford community, and would like to support us financially, you can do that in one of three ways. You can support us for as little as $1 a month through our Patreon site. You can also make a one-time PayPal contribution or buy some of the merchandise in our online store. Thanks again for watching. Come back next time as we continue to discover what makes the Springford area a great place to live, work, eat, and explore.